Welcome to JetEdge Waterjet Systems Waterjet Cutting Technology for the Farm Machine Shop. My name is Nancy Lossing. I'm the Marketing Manager for JetEdge. With me today is Ben Callahan, our North Central Regional Sales Manager. Let's begin with a brief introduction to JetEdge. JetEdge has been in the waterjet industry since 1984. In fact, this year we're celebrating our 30th anniversary. Our headquarters is in St. Michael, Minnesota, 30 miles northwest of Minneapolis on I-94. In St. Michael, Minnesota, we have a 100,000 square foot manufacturing facility. We also have regional sales offices throughout the United States and a sales office in Shanghai, China. We have distributors around the world in Asia Pacific, Middle East, Europe, and North and South America. We offer a wide range of products and services, including precision cutting systems, portable cutting systems, surface preparations systems, waterjet pumps, parts and accessories, custom engineering and OEM integration, and now by popular demand we offer low-cost systems for the rural shops. We have a very proud history. In 1991, when we were just a fledgling company, we were given a call during the Kuwait oil fires to come up with a solution to cut off the damaged wellhead caps. I recall Saddam Hussein's troops set fire to the wellheads in Kuwait and caused a huge environmental disaster. They thought at the time that it would probably take 5 to 10 years to put out the fires, but they were able to put them out by the end of the year in 1991. And JetEdge waterjets were an important part in putting out those fires because we were able to go in there and cut off the wellheads that had been detonated by his troops, and basically just a mangled mess that we had to go in and cut off. A few years later, during the Kobe earthquakes in Japan, JetEdge waterjets were deployed to help with the recovery efforts there after the earthquakes. Then in 2007, JetEdge became one of the first manufacturers to introduce a 90,000 psi waterjet pump. Until that time, the standard pressure was about 55,000 psi or 60,000 psi. Now if you consider that your average pressure washer may be about 4,000 psi, that's quite a lot of pressure. In 2007, JetEdge developed a NASCAR partnership with Michael Waltrip Racing, and Michael Waltrip Racing now uses 2 JetEdge waterjet systems to cut more than 1,000 parts for each one of his NASCAR Sprint Cup Series cars. In 2010, BP gave us a call during the Gulf oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico and asked us if we could develop a waterjet system that could be dropped 5,000 feet underwater and used to blast away hydrate ice crystals that were clogging a containment system. So we rapidly developed a system along with our sister company and deployed that down into the Gulf, and we were able to successfully remove all of those hydrate ice crystals and help put an end to that disaster. 2 years later, we received the Minnesota Governor's Trade Award for our international sales efforts, and that very same year we also appeared on History's Modern Marvels. The episode, if you'd like to look for it, is called Under Pressure. We serve a wide range of industries, predominantly machine shops and metal fabricators, but we're also very well used in the automotive industry, aerospace and defense, metal service centers, OEM integrators, stone and tile, energy, medical manufacturing, and food processing because of the non-contact cleanliness of water jets. And of course there's many other industries that we're involved in. So how do water jets work? Well, an ultra-high pressure water jet is created by using a special pump that pressurizes water up to 90,000 psi. That water is then forced through a tiny orifice that's as small as 5/1000ths of an inch, creating an ultra-high pressure water jet. Typically, an abrasive is added to the water jet stream, and that becomes an abrasive water jet that can cut parts from virtually any material. So here's an example of a pure water jet cutting an apple. And water jets are very commonly used in the food processing industry, integrated into special systems. The advantages here is that you have a non-contact cutting, you have no knives to sharpen or clean, and it does a nice clean job cutting a wide range of food products. And it also is commonly used in the automotive industry for cutting carpets, also for cutting paper, diapers, rubber gaskets, and believe it or not, even bread is sliced with water jets. The water jet is going through it so quickly that it's not getting the bread wet. Now when you add an abrasive and you see that pile of sand, it looks like sand down there on the bottom, that is actually a material called garnet. When you add that abrasive to the water jet stream, you're creating an abrasive water jet that can machine through just about any material that you can think of, including metals, stone, plastic, and glass. We have cut up to 15-inch titanium before with water jet. Garnet is the same abrasive as what you see on sandpaper, and that's why if you look at a water jet cut part, it's got a nice smooth sanded edge typically, because it has been sanded. What are the advantages of water jet? Well, there's many advantages of water jet cutting. It's the most versatile cutting and surface preparation technology on the market. You're cutting without heat or flames. You have no heat affected zone. You're not doing any damage to the material at all. And you can cut stacked material. You can cut tight nests so that you're reducing your material waste and maximizing the use of your material. And you can cut any kind of material. If you have cleanliness issues for food, it's a great non-contact cutting machine tool for cutting food. It's also environmentally friendly. You're basically using water and abrasive, and that abrasive can be removed and recycled, or it can be removed and landfilled as long as you're not cutting any toxic materials. And water jet cutting also minimizes toxic dust and fumes. But by far the biggest advantage of water jet cutting is that it can cut virtually anything. So when we say it cuts any material, what do we mean? Well, for metals you can cut steel, aluminum, stainless steel, titanium, Inconel, which is a super alloy which cannot be machined by any other tools. And you can cut heat-treated hardened materials as well. So you have no limitations on what type of metals that you can cut. Plastics and rubber, you can cut nylon, you can cut plexiglass, you can cut UHMW, Lexan, you can cut glass and stone, you can even cut bulletproof glass, marble, granite, any kind of stone. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, you can cut food and much, much, much more. You're really only limited by your imagination when it comes to water jet cutting. As you can see over there on the right, you can cut very detailed parts with the water jet system. This is a conference room table at one of our customers. It has 1,500 pieces of stained glass and stone inlaid onto their conference room table. All of these pieces were cut with a water jet. Even that tiny little white of the peacock's eye was cut with a water jet cutting system. Down below is a titanium billet that's being cut for an aerospace application. And as you can see, there's some sparks coming off the bottom of it, and that's actually the garnet abrasive hitting the titanium because the titanium is such a hard material. So now I'm going to turn things over to Ben Callahan. Ben is our North Central Regional Sales Manager. He has over 10 years in the water jet industry, and prior to moving over to sales, Ben was a jet edge service engineer and a water jet applications engineer, so he has a wealth of experience and knowledge in the water jet industry. His specialties include jet edge precision cutting, systems operations and maintenance, water jet applications, and OEM integration. He's served many industries including OEM, machine and fabrication shops, automotive, defense, stone, and tile. So please welcome Ben Callahan.
So I'm here to talk to you about water jet and using it in a rural situation. We have our Tach-Jet and our Farm-Jet that we've developed for rural environment where we don't have three-phase power. So we we don't require the 460 or the 380 three-phase power. You can use it in a 115 or a 220 volt facility. You could also use tractor PTO or the skid steer hydraulics on a skid steer. We also want to make it affordable, so we want to make it about the same price as some type of piece of equipment on a farm or a shop out in the middle of the country. And we also want to make it easy to operate, so it's not a big cumbersome piece of equipment, something that you're not going to use. We want to make it easy so that you go to it. You want to be able to go to this system and use it. So we have two configurations for the Farm-Jet or the farm shops. We have a Farm-Jet and a Tach-Jet. Both systems are able to produce 55,000 psi at 1 gallon per minute. They both use the same motion system, offering 40 inches by 40 inches of travel, PC-based controller. The Farm-Jet. Okay, I'm gonna talk more about the Farm-Jet here and explain some of the things about it. The Farm-Jet allows you to couple up to your Category 1 or Category 2 3-point hitch, and it requires 540 or 1,000 RPM PTO shaft. You also are required to have 115 volt power supply for the motion and for the pump, just for the boost pump, and you need a fresh water supply. So the pump itself is getting its motion from the PTO shaft on your tractor. So here's a little overview of the pump itself. So you can tie in down below here. This would be where your PTO shaft ties in, coupled to your pump. And this is going to be a direct drive style of pump. So it's going to be a cat style of pump, cat pump. And then we've put our modified pistons on the end. And so this is kind of an overview of how it works. Here's your fresh water coming in, goes through a boost pump, runs through a high pressure, or excuse me, a filter, and now this is going to tie into our plunger itself. So it ties into our high pressure plunger here. It's getting intensified. It comes out through here as high pressure water. So this is going to be a low pressure hose. Out here is going to be a high pressure hose. So now on this side it's going to be discharged as 55,000 psi at a maximum of 1 gallon per minute. It's going to come out and it's going to tie into a pressure relief valve, a bleed down on-off valve going through the attenuator and out to the cutting head itself. You're also required to have some compressed air. That compressed air is going to open your bleed down and your on-off valve on your cutting head. Here's a little better viewing of the cylinders itself. So you can see you have your fresh water coming in here, fills up your plunger cavity, and it's produced into it's intensified to a high pressure water and comes out at 55,000. So here's a little zoom in on that. We have our low pressure water coming in through here. It comes in through our low pressure poppet housing. Plunger's in an intake type stroke, so it's stroking backwards. It fills up that cylinder. When it changes direction, we can look on the bottom. Now it's coming out as a high pressure. It closes the low pressure poppet housing. High pressure water comes down through the check tube housing, opens up the seat on the high pressure poppet housing, and travels out through that out to your high pressure line into your cutting head itself. The Tach-Jet, just like the Farm-Jet, produces 55,000 psi, 1 gallon per minute. Lets you run a maximum of 15 thousandths orifice. Runs on a PC-based controller. Cuts with water only or abrasive. $65,000 is where that's going to start at. So here's a rundown of the EcoJet. This requires, or EcoJet with the Tach-Jet. This requires a hydraulic supply of 3,000 psi with 29 gallons per minute. So you're going to need a high output hydraulic unit on a skid steer on a tractor. So the hydraulics is what is what's turning your shaft on your cat pump. We also offer a boss cutter. This is going to be a strictly electric type unit, so you won't have to tie in with another piece of equipment. This is going to utilize our EcoJet direct drive pump. It's going to put out 0.87 gallons per minute at 55,000 psi. The motion control is going to be the standard 40 by 40 inch motion control. It's going to utilize water only or abrasive jet. This one starts at $75,000. The power requirements for this is going to be 230 volt 3-phase, 460 3-phase, 380 3-phase. The motion system will require the 115 volt 60 hertz or 230 50 hertz. Here's a view here of the EcoJet itself. So here we have our cat pump, and that's driven by our electric motor. Other than that, it's going to be exactly the same on this side. So we have our water coming in, water coming out, high pressure water coming out, running out to our cutting head. So let's talk about the motion system. The motion system is going to be the same for either the Farm-Jet, the Tach-Jet, or the boss cutter. It's just going to depend on how you're pressurizing that water to it. So the motion system is always the same. It's going to come in either a 40 inch by 40 inch cutting envelope or soon to be released 60 inch by 60 inch cutting envelope. Gives you a maximum of 6 inches of Z travel. So that will give you the ability to cut material up to 6 inches in thickness. Its accuracy is plus or minus 6/1000ths of an inch. Has a max transverse speed of 200 inches per minute, and this runs on 115 volt 60 hertz or 230 50 hertz, and it runs on a standard PC controller. Here's an overview of the controller. It's a Windows PC. You can use either a desktop or a laptop, and a pendant ties in with the motion system, so you can run the whole motion system with the pendant. That allows you to move left, right, up, down, do incremental moves, continuous moves, set program 0, start the program, stop the program, do a block retrace, start at a point. It gives you all those capabilities right through the pendant rather than having to use the PC. If you're more comfortable with the PC, you can do that. You can do everything through the PC that you could do with the pendant also. So if you're more comfortable that way, it's going to work out. An overview of the controller. We're using FlashCut. FlashCut is going to be the motion system, and it's also going to give you the ability to create CNC programs through DXF files. So what I'm seeing here, or what this is showing you, is this is going to be a motion system as far as where your cutting head is located on the travel itself. So this is going to be our machine coordinates. If we set a program 0 coordinates, a relative coordinate system, and our distance to go. This is going to be kind of our manual options here of G-code, jog, point, home, auxiliary, MDI moves, feed rate override. And this is going to be our program itself. So we have a readout of our program. We can see what's happening with it. If it's going to be, we can see where it's going next, what the program is doing. We also get a graphic up here. So if we don't know how to do M&G code very well, we have the graphic here. It runs on standard M&G code. M&G code is an industry standard, and it's easy to edit. So you can read this file over here to the left, and that can tell you that it's doing a rapid move to this position. It's sitting there for half of a second dwell after the cutting head is turned on. It's now doing a work offset. It's doing a straight line at a feed rate of 9.6. It's doing another straight line to that position at 9.6. So I can easily read this program. I can make changes to it if I need to change where it's going. I need to change a feed rate. I can change anything in this program just using a regular text editor. I can also create programs very simply by importing a DXF file. So if you know someone that can create DXF files, or if you've created a DXF file with the iGEM software, you can import that directly in through the flash cut. So it allows you to import a DXF, tell it your scale if you want to scale it. You can give it a feed rate. You can adjust your elliptical splines. Tell it where you want your start point to be. Hit the button, and it's going to spit you out a program. Some time-saving features of the controller: block retrace. Let's say you're cutting, you have an issue with the abrasive or the water flow, or something happens. You have some type of issue in the middle of the cut. You hit the stop button. You can move the machine away. You can fix your problem. You hit block retrace, it's going to run the program backwards. So if you've been running for, say, an hour or 2 hours, and you have an issue with the cut, you don't want to have to rerun that program for an hour or two just to get back to where this issue happened. Hit block retrace, it will run the program backwards. Stop it, start it at that point, and you can run straight from that point on. You can also do a start at point. So if you have a part or a program that's nested, so you have 50 parts that are nested, but you don't want to cut all 50 parts. You only need to cut part 30 or part 40. I can go out there as a graphic, and I can just go out there and click on a certain feature, and I can say start at this position. I hit the start button. The machine will run out to that part where I clicked on the screen, and that's where it will start, rather than having to dry run through all of your program itself. Another thing that's nice about the controller is the feed rate override. Allows you to override from 1% of your program speed all the way up to the maximum transverse speed of the motion itself. So even if you're programmed for, say, 1/4 inch aluminum, something programmed for probably around 35 inches per minute, well, and now you want to cut 1/2 inch or inch thick mild steel, your program is going to be a lot slower. So you can adjust your feed rate down to cut at that feed rate that's required for the mild steel. Or vice versa, if you have a part that's programmed for 1 inch mild steel, and now you want to cut, let's just say you want to cut a gasket out or something, and you had originally cut a flange or a ring or something that you welded onto a fitting. Now you want to make a gasket. We've already got the program. All you need to do now is put your piece of cork material on there or rubber type material on there. Change your feed rate override up to, really you can change it up to the maximum. And you can change it so that your program will then run at 200 inches per minute. So it's going to allow you to cut a lot quicker and save you some time and money. It also allows you to MDI, or manual data input, and that is a way to key in simple lines of code. So just like that M&G code that we had seen before, it allows you to key that in to a Windows box and allow you to run just simple programs. So if you want to do like a cutoff or a straight line type of thing, or just run an arc, I can key in, I want to turn the jet on, go to this position at this speed rate, turn the jet off. So iGEMS is the CAD/CAM software that comes with the system also, and this allows you to take and create raw geometry. So you start out with a blank screen, and you want to create a square. You can go into it and say create rectangle. You put in how big you want this rectangle. I want it 8 inches by 10 inches. You key that in, it's going to draw that square for you. I want a 6-inch circle in the center of it. You can punch in you want a 6-inch circle. You can draw anything that you can draw, you can then cut out. So you can create a DXF, or you can create the M&G code right through the software. So if you know the measurements on your part that you want to create, you can take those measurements, enter those into here, and create your part. And that way, when you cut it out, you know that you're going to be right on. iGEMS also gives you the ability to sketch, and what sketching is going to allow you to do is take your mouse and just use that as like a pencil or a pen, and you can draw a feature or draw a part just by using that. So it works good in like an artsy type of cutting. So if you want to cut out silhouettes for in the front yard, or if you want to do like a tile inlay for the kitchen or for the bathroom or something like that, it allows you to draw a simple shape that you could then create a program for and cut out. So it allows you to do some freehand type of work. You can also import or scan like a JPEG or a drawing. So if you had drawn something on paper, you can scan that and create that into a part. So here's a part that has been sketched. This is just a freehand drawing that someone has drawn up, and now they could create a M&G code for this and cut this out on the system. What you see on the screen here now is nesting. This is going to be, on the bottom you see the parts. Those are going to be what this person wants to cut. So I want to cut out a bunch of different circles. I have the different sizes on there. I've told them how many of each circle I want, and I've told it that I have these 8 sheets of material. So it takes these 8 sheets of material, and it automatically puts these parts out there and puts them out there as tight as it possibly can with what you've told it that you want. So if you only want it to be so close to the edge or so close to each part, it takes that into consideration and puts those parts on, it nests those parts onto those sheets. So that's one way of doing nesting. So if you know what size sheets you have, you can do it that way. Another way to kind of do it is do dynamic nesting. And this allows you to take your parts, circles, squares, whatever it happens to be, and then you can just draw a little square, and it will automatically fill that in with your parts. Some of the frequently asked questions: how much does a Farm-Jet cost to run? So a Farm-Jet is going to cost you around $35.42 an hour, and we're basing that number off of the electricity running at 16 cents per hour, running on fuel at $8.36 an hour, water at $1.40 per hour, abrasives at $15 per hour. Now that's based on a pound of abrasive per minute at 25 cents a pound. You can get abrasive that costs more. You can get abrasive that costs less. You can even adjust your abrasive flow rate so that you're running less than a pound per minute. It'll slow your cut down slightly, but it could reduce that $15 number down. Your pump consumables are going to vary a little bit. They're going to be around $5 to $7 per hour. Your cutting head consumables are at $3.50 per hour. Like I said, $35.42 per hour. The Boss Cutter utilizes all electric, so you don't have that fuel price. You're going to be at about $1.64 an hour on electricity. Water, you're still at $1.40. Abrasive, $15 per hour again. Pump consumables still at $5 to $7, and your cutting head is still $3.50. So this is a little bit lower, coming in at $28.54. What type of maintenance is required? The motion system itself, you want to make sure that you maintain your ball screws in your linear ways. Your screws are what's giving you your precision, and your accuracy is what's holding your squareness. So you want to make sure that you grease those things and that you don't have any dry spots on them. So you want to make sure that they're moving smooth. So you want to make sure that you grease them on a regular basis. You want to keep your motion system clean. So after you're done cutting, you might get some spray that might contain some of that dirt or abrasive that's been pulverized. And so when you're done running, just rinse it off, and you'll get the most of it off. That's going to be the biggest thing there. Just make sure that you grease it and keep it clean. The cutting head itself, you're going to have to replace orifices and nozzles. Orifice is a small ruby, sapphire, or diamond piece that goes inside the cutting head. These are going to range from 100 hours to about 1,200 hours. And so that's a ruby or sapphire is going to last you about 100 hours. They're going to cost you around $25 an orifice. A diamond orifice is going to be around 1,200 hours, and it's going to run around $460, $480 in price. Nozzles last about 100 hours, and they're going to be about $100 an hour, or $100. So give you an idea, 100, 120 hours is what you can normally get on the nozzle. The tank itself, if you're cutting with water only and you're cutting on the jet brick is going to be a corrugated plastic that is precision cut and then screwed together so that the corrugated parts are facing the top, and that allows you a work surface that allows the water to drain off, but has very small openings in it, so you can hold small material and it will hold up. It will support your material that's soft. So if you put a thin piece of foam on there or something that could sag in a 1-inch spacing, you can put that jet brick on there and it'll hold it nice and flat. If you cut on it over time, it will start to kind of wear out. So you want to make sure that you replace any stuff that's damaged or cut through. You can get a lot of life out of the jet brick. Slats is going to be what you're going to cut over if you're cutting with the abrasive jet. If you're cutting thin gauge material, 1/4 inch, 1/8 inch, 1/2 inch type stuff, you're going to get a lot of life out of your slats. If you're cutting 5-inch thick material, you're going to cut through your slats more often, and you're going to want to make sure that you replace those to support your material that you put on there later. You also will have abrasive that accumulates in the bottom of your tank, and you're going to want to replace that, or excuse me, you're going to want to remove that. So what you're going to need to do is either pull the slats out and either shovel it out, or you could use even like a mini backhoe and dig it out of there. Or they even make systems that allow you to take like a wand and put it down into the abrasive, and it will agitate it, and then it uses a pump to pump it out and separate that abrasive and put the water back in. The pump, you want to make sure that you maintain any leaks. So if you have any leaks on any of your high pressure fittings, make sure you get those tight. If you have any filters that are going, or seals that are going out, seals that are leaking, you're going to want to change those. Those are simple to do. You need to take the end cap off, remove the cylinder, pound the seals out, put some new ones in, reinstall the cylinder, reinstall the end cap, torque it down, and then reattach your high pressure line. You have high pressure poppets, low pressure poppets. Those are simple, low cost parts that just need to get popped out, put back in. Then you also have your water filter. So you have a 10 and a 0.4 micron filter, just a canister filter. Pop that off, put a new filter in, pop it back on. So how easy is it to learn, and how easy is it to operate? It uses standard Windows. So if you're familiar with Windows, you'll be able to run it. It's pretty simple that way. Most of the functions that you're going to do with the motion is going to be used through the pendant. You have a pendant that shows you which direction you're moving, up, down, left, right. Tells you on the keyboard, set 0, incremental move, continuous move, cycle start, cycle stop. Pretty much as long as you can read it, you're going to know what to do with it. If you are more comfortable with doing it through the computer, you can do all of your motion, all of your movements through there also. As far as for maintenance on the pump, JetEdge offers free training for the life of your pump itself. So we do this every other month, and you just need to call in and get put on the schedule, and we're going to focus on your intensifier, or your type of pump itself. So JetEdge offers multiple different types of pumps. So we offer the Farm-Jet, the Tach-Jet, the EcoJet. We also offer intensifier style pumps. We also offer mobile style of pumps. These are all types of pumps that we go over in the training, but we're not going to go over every single one. We're going to focus on what type of pump you have. So all you need to do is get to JetEdge, which, as Nancy said, is located northwest of Minneapolis, about 30 miles. And you just need to get here, and we supply you with lunch, and we can get you a discount at a hotel, and get you trained on the proper maintenance, and some special tricks and techniques to doing maintenance to your pump.
Okay, it doesn't look like we have any questions, so I'd like to thank everyone for attending today. And if you have any questions, please give us a call at 1-800-JET-EDGE. That's 1-800-538-3343. Or you can visit our website at www.jetedge.com.